Hello, and thank you for joining me in my video. This is for the Crafty You pillar board kit, specifically the Your Life Story, Write Well, Edit Often transfer. Now, our Couture pillow boards can go either vertically or horizontally, and there's a small hole in the back where a pin will poke through and then go through the hole in the board accordingly. So make sure when you're deciding your orientation of your board that the hole on the back is on the bottom. For this particular board, I am going to go vertically, although because this transfer has to be cut up into lots of different pieces, you could easily do this vertically or horizontally, but I think I want to do mine horizontally. So I have already fuzzed my transfer, and by fuzzing, I mean that I have got it a little less sticky by putting the sticky side down several times on a towel. Now I'm just going to cut all these pieces using these guidelines here. Now, I know a lot of people actually write on the back of the transfer, on the transfer paper, not the sticky part, but the paper, which transfer it goes to. I tend not to do that. I usually don't have too difficult a time of matching up what goes where, but you may want to do that before you take the main transfer off the paper. Now, the other videos have been relatively quick in this series, but this is a much more detailed transfer. You can go a lot of ways with it. One of the things I tend to do first when I am working on a board like this, I was just checking my orientation again, is I want to get my sentiment first, because I tend to put my sentiment down and then build around my sentiment. So let's go ahead and do that. I have quite a few different paste colors here. You can do this very minimally as well too. There's often it's a minimal color palette can give a very strong statement to your board. So that's okay if you don't have a ton of colors, just use what you have. But I really wanted to show you what you could do with this transfer. So I have quite a few little colors going on here. I'm going to use our regular small squeegee in bright white paste, and I am just going to pull that right down over the mesh silk screen and make sure I cover every bit of that. Okay, excess goes back into my paste pot, and then we're going to pull the transfer. And although I start in a corner, I always pull from top to bottom, side to side, because that helps your transfer not stretch. And I'm just going to store this in a small pan of water I have off to the side here until I can take it into the kitchen to clean. I got a little bleed there. I'm going to pull that off. And now, since I'm going to be working around this board, I'm going to dry off, and you can use a hair dryer. That works just fine. It's not the heat that does it. It's the air. But I'm going to use my heat tool because it is in my craft room and handy right by me. So, because I'm going to be working with a bunch of different colors and small transfers all around this, I will be doing this several times throughout this creation. Okay, set that off to the side, and I'm going to test this to make sure. Yeah, we're good there. All right, now the next part that I want to do on this transfer is I'm just going to take a step back here. When I look at transfer pieces like this, I know for some people it can feel overwhelming when there's so many choices, but I like to really break it down, because I know that I'm going to be doing a base piece, the secondary bases, and then kind of the top layers. And I see the flowers as the top layers. That's not to say you might not do some of that floral, that base leaf stuff over top. You might. But this is just how I see this. And I could even see this one done on white on top of the flowers, but we can play that by ear. But I do know my flowers are going to be some of the last pieces that I do. So I'm just going to set those off here, and I am going to start with my arrow because I know that this is going to be my base piece. Now I have seen this done numerous ways. This is your board. You do it your way. How I'm going to choose to do it is I'm going to do an arrow here, and I'm going to switch it around up here. Now, I have also seen this, if you'd like, you can move your sentiment up to here and do an arrow kind of this way and cross it down here that way, and then build your floral pattern around it. But of course, if you do one arrow, make sure you dry it very well before you do the other arrow on top of it. But for now, I'm going to do mine this way, and you can do yours whatever way you'd like. Okay. I am going to do this in our paste that's called Bark, which is this very rich brown color. And I know it looks really dark in the pot, but it does lighten up a bit once it is dried. So, and I'm using our multi-tool. I like to use the multi-tool when I'm dealing with smaller transfers. I feel I have better control. The regular squeegee will work though. It'll be just fine. All right, now, since there's not a whole lot of paste going on, I'm actually just gonna not even clean that, and I'm gonna go right back on top. You always run a risk when you do it that way, but I like to run it. Here we go. And we'll get our second arrow up top, going the other direction. Now, I know I've done this board before. I just can't remember how I did it. I did it on a board and stand. So, all right, since I'm going to be doing leaves around this, I definitely need to dry this. And I want to make sure this is really dry because I'm going to be doing a lot of building onto this. Okay, now I'm just gonna give this a little test. It is not sticky, so we are good. So I'm gonna add some leaves now, and the color I'm using for leaves is new in this catalog release. This is a parakeet. Parakeet actually dries to a very springy color, so it needs a little bit of a stir. That's all right. Obviously, I've been into this one before. It's a great spring color. So I'm going to grab my leaves and just add some leaves around here. Now I can kind of see where this is touching the brown. I know you're not going to be able to see this in camera, but when you're up close, you can see where that brown is just catching the bottom of that leaf. And that's what I want. Like this is coming right up from that arrow. So I'm going to get my excess off, and then I'm going to pull my transfer. I'm going to add, oh, see, I almost laid that transfer down on top of that leaf again. I'm going to have to dry that before I come in on top. So I'm going to lay this up here. And the neat thing about this, again, is that you can use whatever colors speak to you. You can go as heavy on the leaves and flowers, or you can go very simply with just the arrows and some leaves. You don't even need to use the leaves. You can do that however you want. So for now, I'm going to just set this off to the side and dry this up real quick, just because I know the way I was laying that down, it was going to, the sticky part was going to clip the edge of that, and I don't want to risk pulling that up. Although if I did, I could probably easily mask that by putting a flower over top of it. If a part of the paste came up, I have some other layering pieces that I'm going to be doing in here. It'll work. Oh, see how nice that is lightening up? That's a little different than our green envy. The green envy which we were really using for Christmas. It would work great for this. It really would work great for this, but I just love this parakeet. It just is such a lighter spring color. So we're going to come down here. I'm going to add some more leaf in here. Okay. And I am not going to add one up there. Just, I don't want it to be too matchy-matchy. I don't like matchy-matchy. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not kind of what I want to do. So I think I'm going to keep my green around though. I might be layering some of this smaller leaf in here in a little bit. So I'm just going to keep that close by. So let's take a look at what we've got flower-wise here. Let's see. I can tell this is a base. And I'm betting, let me take a look here. You could kind of roll those on top of there. And the same with this and that. So I am just going to, oh, I think I need to dry that one leaf I just did too. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I know it's boring watching just somebody dry leaves, dry stuff, but it really is important to do when you're doing layers that are going to be kind of on top of each other. So I noticed that I got a little extra green here. I could just come in with my thumbnail and just kind of bring that right up off the board. No harm, no foul. So first flower I'm going to do is up here. And what I wanted to do for flowers, I don't know, I just was really into these blue combinations. It's peacock and the Couture teal. And I just wanted to do that. And because I wanted to do it that way. Of course, this is your board. You can do it any way you want. You don't need to follow my color pattern. Although you're more than welcome to. And the great thing is, as I've always say when I do videos, if you do this and you hate the color combinations or it just doesn't work for you, well then, wipe it off. Start over again. I'm going to put him right there, I think. Okay. Let's pull up. Okay. That's all right. That didn't take too well, but I'm going to be able to hide that with a different flower. That's the neat thing about layering. If you can see, I didn't get enough paste in there to cover that. Since I'm going to layer over top of it, doesn't matter. It won't matter. I kind of went with the blue because these days I am loving blue and brown together. Just a neat combination. It's just a good color combination together. And remember, you don't need to stay on the arrows with your flowers. You can use your flowers throughout your whole board. This is your board. Make it yours. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover up my oops. I'm going to do that first. Just grabbing another squeegee out from over there. And I'm going to do that by adding in a Couture teal flower right in. Ooh, think about this. Yeah, it'll be okay. Yeah. Well, you might as well dive in and see how it turns out, right? Because if we don't like it, we'll just make it go away. It's as simple as that. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I have that all covered in here. There. And see, now you can't even see where I lost that color in the other one. All right. So I think I want to, first of all, I want to dry this first. All right, now sorry, I just need to get to the center of this. It just does not want to layer the way. Here. All right. Let me just get this cleaned off here. I am going to go over top of this flower with petals in this, and we're going to do a layered flower up here. Okay. There we go. Layered nicely in there. And I'm not going to layer that one down there. I don't want to. If I do, I might do it slightly differently, like with that guy. And with these florals, remember, you do as much or as little as you want. It's, you know, make it your own. How does this speak to you? Now, I love also yellow and blue, so I am going to use this shockingly yellow down here to accent that flower, just there. And it's just enough of an accent to pop that color out. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab a paintbrush back here. And when you're painting with chalk Couture, you really need to get your brush wet because it's a very thick paint. And so I'm going to get it wet and I'm going to dip it in and I'm going to get it wet again because all I want to do is a simple center to there. So that brings the color down, and I think I'll do a center up here too. Kind of pull that yellow pop throughout there. So yeah, and I think the very last thing I want to do here, again, I haven't used all the transfers. I just chose not to this time. That doesn't mean you can't. You certainly can. Whatever speaks to you. But I do want to dry this because I'm actually going to do a layer of that one leaf still. And I'm being careful to really get that dry down there since it's a little wetter than my normal chalk paste is. Since I did that with my brush, I needed to use a little extra water. Yeah, it's this leaf. I think I wanted to add just a little bit more with this leaf in here. Ooh. There we go. Had a bit of water there. Pull that up. Okay. Let's get this leaf. I think I'm going to layer that kind of coming out here. There we go. Using the parakeet again. You could really make this detailed too and use a different shade of green, like use the green envy for accent leaves, because that'll just add another dimension of color in here. There we go. It's that extra leaf up there. And I really need to get an extra leaf like in here too. No, I think I'm going to leave it. No, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to call that good. Yeah, that's how I create. Is that how you create too? You kind of make it up as you go along. You're like, I'll add it in. And for me, a lot of times is knowing when to stop. It's hard. So anyways, I really appreciate you picking up this kit. It's such a great board and it'll look adorable positioned on the pillar. And you can change this board out. You can, any size A's transfer is going to fit on this board. So make sure you check out the Lori B. Crafty Couture site. I'll make sure you have links to that. Any A size transfer you could put onto here. So you could change this board out every week if you wanted to, just for inspiration and creativity. So thank you so much for watching. Take care.